Hello and welcome to this week's look at action and stunts on film and TV. How are you? You look marvellous. Thank you for popping back and joining me once again. This week's movie, as you will know if you've listened to the podcast on Wednesday, is the first Great Train Robbery, not to be confused with The Great Train Robbery, which was an actual event. But the first Great Train Robbery is a fictional tale of what might have happened in the 1800s if Sean Connery were the gentleman thief and he was to take a huge quantity of bullion from a moving train heading to Folkestone and then to the Crimea, which is where its final destination was to be. So we have a situation where we have a movie that's got a couple of action set pieces in it. It's got great cast. The director is the Michael Crichton, who of course wrote a number of best-selling books, including Jurassic Park. Of course, that was one of his. Rising Sun was one of his as well, I seem to remember. And it's got a wonderful score by Jerry Goldsmith. Those things alone would have been enough, but the action is very clever, and it's very before its time. And we compare it these days, I suppose, to Tom Cruise. You know, it's that type of involvement from the actor, from the lead actor, taking a really serious role in the physicality of the whole thing. We have no alternative but to use comparisons all the time. We compare a great deal of what happened then to what might happen now. Nowadays, the train sequence that we're going to look at is likely to have been captured in a CG capacity, aided maybe by stunt professionals doing long shots. And that's what this film lacks, and I'm still confused as to why. Because there are stunt people there, but they're not taking an active part in the doubling of the main star, which is concerning. Sean Connery carries the picture. If Sean Connery's name wasn't in this movie, well, it probably wouldn't have done anything as like the sums of money that it did at the box office, or created the interest that it had. He is very important to the picture, regardless of how good everybody else is. And so to put himself in a situation like being on top of a moving train back in 1978 when this movie happened just seems peculiar. And I say put himself in it because it was his idea. Michael Crichton takes a lot of flack over the years for this. The story, there's a number of stories depending on what you hear from it, but the story is apparently he said to Connery, "We'll get you up there, we'll do some close-up shots," because they were up there as well. Crichton was the director. You've got the cameraman up there, a lighting guy up there as well. So there's a number of them around a fixed point on the train as it's moving. They get the close-up shots, and then the long shots with the helicopter. There's a chopper up in the air. That's taking all of the shots of, the character on the roof. And that's very clearly going to be a stunt performer. Whereabouts, Connery says, no, it's fine, I'll do it myself. And they all laughed, Oh, Sean, you are a lad. Do it yourself. No. You don't understand. You're worth a great deal to this project and many other projects that will happen along the line. We can't afford to lose you here. You'll be doubled. And then, obviously, Connery took a breath and said, No, you don't understand. I'm going to do this. And if you think I'm not going to do it, you'll get this. Because Sean wasn't, he wasn't averse to speaking his mind through the medium of a clenched fist. Had done it before on a number of other occasions on a golf course from time to time. There was that wonderful occasion when he didn't like the shot he played or something, and he took the 5-iron and bent it over his knee, which is practically impossible to do, I might add, being from a golfing persuasion myself. So, taking all of this into consideration, Crichton, who's not a small character by any state of the imagination, he's 6'5", he's a big lad, has said, OK, Sean, have it your way. And so, that's what they did. He's on the roof, he does... all of it. There isn't a moment in that sequence where it's not him. And we're going to have a look at some footage, and then we're going to have a look at some photographs that have been obtained from the shoot in 1978. From the location, from the shoot. Puts a wonderful, a great additional picture to what's going on. And to see how big the crew is, and to see the type of stuff. And then we're going to talk about the speed of the train. And that's crucial. Absolutely crucial. Let's say, for instance, I'm Michael Crichton. I've made it very clear to the driver of the train, 30 miles an hour. You cannot go any faster than 30 miles an hour. Now, 30 miles an hour, you fall off a train at 30 miles an hour. It's still as bad as falling off a train at 50 miles an hour. There's no... Bearing in mind, he's not wired on. He is freestanding. He's holding on to the carriage. The crew who are up there, well, they're mounted in place, or maybe they're got some sort of safety cable. He's the star. He can't be seen to be in a position where he's got a safety wire. They couldn't CG remove it like they can now. So he's up there, and that's a freehold. He's up there. So there's none of that safety line, none of that. But the driver of the train is counting telegraph poles. This is the official story, right? He is counting telegraph poles as they come past him. He is under the impression, working off a stopwatch, and the telegraph poles coming by the time he gets to this point here, they will be doing 30 miles an hour. And I'm still to find out the equation for that, but that's the understanding. He counts the poles after starting the clock and stop the clock. Right, that's the speed we're doing. Or we ease off the speed a touch. We're going too quickly. We should be at this point by the time we're doing 30 miles an hour. And that's how he's judging it. Now, that's fine. However, in the sky is the helicopter. The helicopter is a modern 1970s helicopter. In order to catch that train and get the shots it's looking for, it's doing 50 plus. So it can't be doing 30, right? You can't be doing 30 miles an hour and then the chopper that's filming you doing over 30 miles an hour if you're doing 30 miles an hour. In fact, he's doing 20 miles an hour more at least, maybe a bit more. And when you look at the footage, knowing now what you know, this makes a great deal of sense. So, let's examine that, and we'll regroup afterwards. So, here's Wayne Sleep. Wayne Sleep is playing Clean Willie. He's in Newgate Prison, that's where this is. And his job is to scale the wall, get out. He has to escape. Wayne is 5'2", and even from perspective shots, there's a perspective shot from down there, it's always him. There's never an opportunity for a double. They don't have one that's agile enough and that type of size. He's got to jump from here now onto the railings, grabbing hold of those spikes.
jumps. Now, ooh, got it. And then they add the blood options on afterwards. Because presumably he's standing under that. But the rest of it, all the climbing, all the physical stuff, and there's some more later on. But it's all him, and it's very, very impressive. And he said himself he was really very impressed with his own ability there, I must admit. The train itself, well, this is Connery. Check the speed of the train, right? That's probably 30-ish, maybe a bit more. But nevertheless, you fall off that or fall under the thing, that's the worst thing. He gets up, he climbs up the ladder, gets to the top, boom, buffeted. That's the first thing. And you know, oh, this could be tricky. Gets up onto the roof to have a look. These are the air stacks in each of the carriages. Look at the smoke billowing back from the engine. And he doesn't get very far before he realises that the jacket is going to cause him issue. He's got no choice. Now, he's going to take it off. But look, there's no wires. He's just physically trying to balance himself there. The camera crew who are filming that, they are tied in place, most likely. Chucks the coat away. Don't need that. Right, off he goes. And this is May of 1978 they're filming this. Here's the chopper shot. And the helicopter pilot's going, well, we're doing 50, 60, 70 miles an hour in order to come round and take the shot. So it's doing much more than just 30. The driver, of course, doing the tree counting job. Up onto the roof. You want to hope that the soles of his shoes are rubber, something to try and get some sort of grip. Points master sees it, changes the points. Look, it's hanging down. And that's Sean. Every long shot you see, every close-up you see is Sean Connery. There is no double on this whatsoever. I can't even believe I'm saying it. It's fascinating. Sign is down. Look, the point is down. And this is where they play with it, because he gets up and then he realises, right, am I going to be... turns. Down he goes. And you think, he made it. Then you get this shot. He's not tied on. He's hanging, look. He's hanging over the side of the train. No wires, no nothing. That's him in long shot. How does he get back up? Watch what he does. He's got gloves on. Where am I? And he brings his fingers and puts them in the holes and pulls and gets himself back on just before the bridge. Man. Just unbelievable. I've seen this sequence time and time again. I've never really been that concerned about it. Having watched it again very recently for this, man, am I concerned. Now, all of a sudden, he spots the next one. Oh, duck down under that tunnel. Not a lot of room between the underside of the bridge and the carriage. Again, lots of billowing smoke. He senses another one coming. The soot's in his eyes. Oh, he can see something coming. He's got to try and clear this quickly. He gets down and just sees it now. Oh, and again, only just. And then this happens. Look. Oh, man. I mean, that is lunacy. There's not even a clever camera angle. That, literally would have been just over the top of his cap. And this is Connery. It's just unbelievable. So again, he sees another one coming. He's having to look. He's having to time it. Oh, wow. Buffeted from both sides. Climbing down. Then crossing over and climbing up. Up the other side. Again. Helicopter shot. He's got to get to the last carriage. That's where the bullion is. That's where he is now. So the two stacks on top. He puts a rope down one to the two fellas inside. There's a guard and Donald Sutherland. So he puts a rope down one. He puts the other length of rope down the other one. He then ties himself on, and they will slowly lower away, allowing him the chance of hanging outside the train. Why? Because he has to pick the padlock on the outside of the carriage door. And again, this is possibly the only safety measure in the entire sequence. He is tied on by a rope, and his counterbalance are two men inside the carriage. Picking the lock, picking the lock, picking the lock. Oh, tunnel. And he hangs down, you know. Wow. I mean, just extraordinary stuff. Extraordinary stuff. Then manages to get the door open, and he's dragged inside. But that entire journey, from the front of the train to where he is, has taken the best part of a week, maybe, to film. Throwing the bullion off the train. This guy's going to collect it. And now the more important thing, he's got to get back. Because he's got to get back to the station. He's carrying Donald Sutherland's... Look, he's jumping now. Jumping. As an actor. Between carriages. He's carrying Donald Sutherland's jacket because he got rid of his own, remember? And he's into a headwind and the speed and the smoke from the carriage. And that is nowhere near doing anywhere near... That's 45, 50 miles an hour easy. Look at this. I mean, it's just absolutely staggering. Nowadays, you'd have... a great proportion of it would be CG. Now, watch this carefully. Goes to jump. Puts his right foot down. Bang. Miss. Slip. Fall. That's not rehearsed. You don't rehearse that. Not with an actor, you don't rehearse it anyway. You'd rehearse that with a stuntman. You know, all those great stories that Paul Weston told about being on top of the train in Octopussy. I think I'll do this, I think I'll do that, I can get away with this, I can make Roger, the actor, look much better. Connery's on his own here. Absolutely on his own. It's quite unbelievable what is going on. And he tries to move on, and he loses part of the outfit. And he's got to go back, and then he's trying to grab the shirt, and look, he's sliding down the side of the roof. And Crichton must be going, this is fantastic. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Nobody can hear each other. Everybody's wearing goggles, and it's quite unbelievable. Quite unbelievable. Finally makes it back into the station. And hopefully charge them a fortune. Now, a great many of the photographs from this, there's some. I mean, that's a great shot. That's the train, and right in the middle there is Sean Connery sat on top of the train. These are just quite incredible pictures taken at the time by the Preservation Society. And by passers-by, you know, in Ireland. It just gives you an idea of how unbelievable. I mean, there's the chopper, there's the telegraph pole, there's the chopper, and there, standing on top of it, is Mr. Connery. So the helicopter pilot is the guy that said, right, let's just get a few facts sorted out. Not in a million years are you going at 30 miles an hour. I mean, can you imagine the bollocking that Sean Connery would have given, firstly, Michael Crichton, secondly, the train driver. This is a rehearsal shot from the throwing the bullion off the train. Again, you see the ropes hanging down, camera crew inside. although the shot itself was taken from outside. There was a mounted camera on the top as well to cover all eventualities. And then during those checking periods, obviously the points that were put hanging down from the bridge, that's a prop. But all these people that are up there and sorting it out, and then Sean sat there with his cap on, talking through the situation with the director. You know, there's never a call. There's no photographic evidence of a stunt performer or a coordinator talking him through what's going on or giving him advice. It's just him and the director. And that's why this entire project, after watching it, really, really concerns me. They go back up the line. This is on the return journey. It's just quite incredible that this would have been allowed to have happened. I mean, it's 1978, and there was lots of action pictures about at the time. But there are things that, you know, there are risks that are taken, and Sean's taking plenty here. Another great shot, another wonderful picture. It's overcast a bit. There is a great deal of smoke billowing from the engine, and there is a white dot about 3/4 of the way down that train, and that is Sean Connery, playing the character, stood on top of the train, smoke pouring in his face. His eyes would be streaming. It's a remarkable feat. And no wonder that they got an opportunity to sit down and talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to put a camera platform on here, which is what they're building, just to get some initial shots. So particularly for the shot where he's hanging on the side of the train, and they want to have a mounting there. So this is how they do it. They build it on the back of the carriage and they can film around the corner. And there's the director on top. What a team.
Hell of a job. Hell of a job. I mean, really, hats off to Sean for doing that, because that takes big balls. We know Sean's got big balls. That's not a problem. That's been documented in time immemorandum. However, to do what he is doing there, acting, those little moments where he's, the steam, it's a steam train, you're having real difficulty to judge the distances between the speed you're travelling, the tunnel that you're going into. He's watching it now, and then falls to it's just remarkable. And you see the way he gets back, because he's hanging off that train. He puts his fingers into the hole of the smokestack and pulls himself back up. No wires, no nothing. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Very, very powerful stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I think it's a remarkable film. I think it's bizarre that, from a stunt perspective, the only person that we see in the picture is at the end of the movie. It's Val Mazzetti. And that's, literally at the end of the movie, after the court case. So it's a very peculiar situation. And there doesn't appear to have been, any training or anything of this nature in order to get Sean up to a certain level of agility. And if you're up there, travelling at that speed for the week or the 2 weeks that they were on that particular piece of track, takes it out of you. Physical strength, in order to get up there and hold your position, and you get disorientated because you're going in one direction, then maybe you're coming back in another direction. So it's a great deal of work. So I sincerely hope you've enjoyed that. Next week we will be back for more, and if you would like to explore the world of the Pod Dojo Network, do that in the link that's down there in the notes. Go and check out all the other episodes, and also subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. It makes sense when there is something new you will be the first to hear about it. Okay, so let's regroup again next week, do it all again, and until then, it's bye for now.